The comforted man, pumpkin here. Okay, I'm not going to do that the whole thing. Welcome to Spooky Story that might be made up by me. But, well, might be made up, or it might be real. It could be true. We don't know what to do. Anyways, so expect some chills and fright. This isn't quite the night, but it will be a delight. I'm also not going to rhyme the entire time. But something okay. This happened to a young man, pre-internet era. His name isn't important. All you need to know is his story. He grew up in a very religious household, and I mean religious. Every day was something about God. Every moment of their life was dedicated to doing things involving God. Nothing sinister, nothing horrible, very ordinary. Prayer, praise, singing to God before they went to sleep. Church every Wednesday night and every Sunday. He looked forward to it and enjoyed it. What religion or denomination? Also doesn't really matter. What matters is, as he grew, he became more and more convinced of the truth of God. The most memorable moment of his existence was built up quite a lot in church. Soon they'd have somebody called an apologist come, and this wise man would tell them the proof of God. A proof of God? Of course God was real. He didn't need proof that God existed. He knew God existed. But this man was going to give them proof. And finally the night came. And it was Sunday night, unusual time, 10 o'clock. Never been to church so late. Wednesday nights, it was 7 to 8. 10 seemed absurd. It was extra cold, crisp that November night. And it just happened to be after Halloween, giving it an extra sort of spooky feeling because they just experienced Halloween around them. And although it wasn't anything sinister necessarily to Halloween, it was spooky. The man spoke with great fervor and articulation. He gestured wildly. His sweat flew off of his head. He looked like he knew what he was saying. Most of the words went above his head. He was too young of a man to understand the technical terms this man was using, this older man who he instantly respected. And then the moment came that impacted him more than anything. The man on stage suddenly stopped, froze, didn't move, and then his eyes slowly looked around the room, and he suddenly pointed right at him and said, "If I didn't believe in God, I would kill all of you." I would kill everyone I could because I would not be stopped by the good that God has. And this sunk into his head. He left shaken that night, unable to sleep most of the night. And when he did sleep, he had nightmares and tossed and turned. The next day, he felt sick, even threw up. His mom let him stay home from school. It never happened. He didn't want to stay. He prayed and cried. And finally, he felt better. And things seemed to kind of go back to normal. School had an interesting lesson in English. They were reading the newspaper. Learning how to read a newspaper was different than a book. You had to flip to different pages. Why they set it up this way, who knew? But it was the news that struck him. A serial killer had been caught. A serial killer who was now in jail. Good. And he knew that man that had killed so many didn't believe in God. And he found that he could write the newspaper people. That had been part of the English lesson and assignment, was to write something to the newspaper about something you had read, and so he did. Dear editor, please, how can I tell the person who killed all those people that there's a God? He didn't expect a response, but he did get one in an editorial section where they highlighted that they'd gotten many messages from their school. And one, they said, had asked about the serial killer and wanted to know how to contact him. And that there was a prison pen pal program that existed. Inquire at the following address for more information. He did. He wrote them, how do I contact this serial killer? I want to tell him that there's a God. They sent the information back with some warnings to his parents that they had to sign off on. Monitor the exchanges between these two, they cautioned. Read what he wrote before he sent it. Read whatever was sent back before they let him read it. He rolled his eyes at this ridiculous oversight, but accepted and tolerated it. He wrote that God exists and that God loves you. And God will forgive you of killing all those people. But he knew that he had killed them because he didn't believe in God. But there was a God. He sent his letter after it had been read. Weeks went by. And then finally, in the mail, they got a letter. His mom and dad read it, smiled, and gave it to him. It said that I was very sad when I read your letter. Because you're right, I didn't believe in God. And I killed those people because I was so angry at everyone. And now I believe in God, thanks in part to your letter and talking to the chaplain. And so even though they're going to kill me, I know where I'm going. Thank you. He now was fully convinced. Well, he was now a young man, and the internet had been out for quite some time, and he had become proficient at its use. He had constructed a website proclaiming the goodness and love of God. Anyone that denies God or disbelieves in God will surely kill their fellow man. That's why all the wars had happened, all the terrors in the past, all because people didn't believe in God. But if only they believed, then they would stop killing. They wouldn't kill in the first place. It was a miraculous cure that the world simply needed to accept. And he proclaimed this boldly on his website. And he was enthralled by the number of visitors that came, and eventually learned about web forums and built a rudimentary one, and it got spammed, and he tore it down and built a new one, more robust, and finally had a system of governance, moderation in place. He was the ultimate of moderators. And at first, only people that believed in God were allowed. Anybody ever saying that there wasn't a God or that they didn't believe was banned immediately and instantly, and that was it. They were not allowed. And finally, one of the members private messaged him and said that they should have a separate message board or a separate section on the message board, at any rate, to allow these people to speak. After all, weren't they here to tell them that there was a God? So he created the Hell Heathens subsection for them. He named it as such because he knew it would anger them. But that anger would then turn to realization that God was real, right? And so people flooded in messages about science, logic, philosophy, metaphysics, epistemology, why this religion or that religion was bad or wrong, contradictions galore. None of it affected him. None of it bothered him, because his message was simple and clear. You will kill if you don't believe in God. Even though many said that they wouldn't and hadn't and didn't, he didn't believe them. Not at all. Until one day, Sarah spoke. And I mean spoke. She had attached an audio clip to her message. It was short, it was sweet, and it sent tingles down his spine when he listened to it. She was young, spoken softly, her voice angelic, saying simply that she didn't believe in God and that she didn't want to kill anybody. Please believe her. He emailed her through the message board. He was able to see her email, being the master of the forum after all. And at first she didn't respond, but then she did. Before he knew it, they were talking every day. And soon they were calling each other. And soon, very soon, they were sending each other pictures, writing each other messages, and writing each other letters. She lived 2 states away. It seemed like millions of miles. But he was now old enough to get a job. And he set aside money and continued to work and to learn. And eventually, when he was 16, he was able to afford, finally, a ticket to come and see her. And the parents approved, and so he was off. The first time he left home, and he set foot in this strange land where Sarah lived. The house was just as she had described it. and so was her room. They kept the door open. The parents, thankfully, had left them somewhat alone, but not totally. They were in the next room. They talked, they giggled, they kissed, but nothing more. She still didn't believe in God. He still did. But they never talked about it, not once. And he realized that she didn't want to kill anybody. And she didn't believe in God. But that can't be. That's wrong. That's not, it can't be. And he shook his head and tried to clear his thoughts on the plane ride home. As he walked as if in a he didn't even know where he was going. His mom's voice calling out to him. He somehow found himself in the car on the drive home. They were talking to him. He didn't know what they were saying. They must have thought he was tired from the journey. He was just confused. She didn't believe in God and didn't want to kill him. He knew that she was honest. He looked at his website when he got home. He looked at it. And he just stared. The counter, how many people had come, and all these messages, and all the numbers, and all the band people, and he started feeling angry. He started just, he couldn't take it anymore. He picked up his monitor and smashed it against the wall and threw his computer across the room. Mom and Dad ran in. What's going on? He lunged at them, pounding at them, hitting them repeatedly, crying, enraged. Finally, they calmed him down, and he told them, I don't know if I believe in God, he cried. Oh, sweetie, you do. You'll never see her again. You'll never see Sarah. What? I love her. It's just puppy love. Dad, I love her, he said, glaring at him. You're not going to speak to me in that tone, young man. You're grounded. The two left the room, and so he opened his door and slammed it. They let him. Let him blow off some steam. And he was furious. He went to his desk drawer, opened it. Shh. Scissors. Shink. Look how sharp they were. Oh, they could poke his skin all right. They could do more than that. And if he didn't believe in God, then that must mean he was going to kill people. Oh, yes. He had to. That was the inevitable conclusion, his mind said. If he didn't believe in God, he had to kill. He opened his door and marched into the other room where his parents were talking. They looked at him, holding the scissors above his head, and even laughed, thinking it to be a joke. He ran towards them. Story 2. I woke up. I thought it was a normal day, like any other day. I looked at YouTube, about to debunk some more insane, stupid stuff, and everybody was talking about something. One person, everybody was live streaming. What the bleep was going on? Major news. Different apologists, too many to name, had been murdered in cold blood by a sniper, all at the same time. This was insane. Some were celebrating it. I would not join in that celebration. It was not okay to celebrate death. But people were happy. These apologists were dead. Somebody was out there who had done it. Who cared? Several people must have done it because it was a coordinated attack. And as people dug in, it seemed like every apologist had been killed. Every single one. It was unthinkable. But it was true. Channels that had millions of subs were silent. The conversation was all about who had done it and whether it was okay or not to celebrate it. Oh, no, it was wrong to celebrate the killing, but it was okay now that those people were dead. Or, well, no, it wasn't okay to say that it was okay that they were dead, but it was better that they were gone than that they weren't, and the world was going to be better now. And yeah, the debates just raged one way or the other. It was madness. But there was one apologist, one who hadn't been killed. Of course the FBI looked into this guy. Of course they would. I mean, he's the only one that survived. And nobody had heard of this guy. He had one video only. And his video just said that he was God. Oh, one of those guys, huh? And he and his video had floated around. Everyone knew that it was so fake, phony. Why hadn't he gotten killed? Oh, he had been shot, he said. But it didn't do anything. You can't kill God. Everybody mocked him and laughed at him. So, what religion was he? He wasn't any religion. He was every religion because God was everywhere. Okay, what am I thinking? And he would look at the screen and say the person's name and tell them what they were thinking. He's a hacker. He's got to be a hacker. He knows too much. Where does he live exactly? The FBI looked into him, right? The FBI had looked for him but hadn't found him. His IP address had existed and pinged in a location, but now it wasn't pinging. There wasn't a static IP. He was somewhere, but nowhere. This didn't make sense. They had clearly seen him, heard him, seen him go live and talk about being God and new things that no one could know. Well, of course, new conspiracies developed. He was a hacker, he was government, he was an alien. It didn't matter. He was a con man of some sort, and they would get to the bottom of this, and he might be the killer. He said simply that what had happened was a tragedy. But that had happened. And it had happened because he had sent his messengers to perform this action. Messengers you might call angels, but he said he didn't call them that. He said whatever their true name was, it didn't matter. What does God need with messengers? He said, oh, well, of course I'm everywhere and I could do it myself, but it's more interesting to have messengers do it for me. I get bored. I am all powerful after all. No, you're not. You're not God. Prove it, people had said. And then unthinkable events happened left and right. He had appeared in people's houses and done things that were impossible to do. Also, he looked different every time. He didn't always look like just a guy. Sometimes he looked like a girl. Sometimes he looked one color or the different color, Caucasian, black, Asian. He seemed to be all humans and no humans. Some started to say maybe he was God, where others said no, it's got to be some sort of trick, some sort of government conspiracy, aliens, time travelers. But he kept saying he was God. He kept doing things that, well, only God could do, or at least seemed like only God should be able to do. And then the day came when all the dead apologists reappeared, alive, in the same place, on stage with him, in front of millions as they were at a concert. He simply walked to the microphone and said, "Hi, I'm God, and I'm here to tell humanity about myself finally. I know, you've made up a lot of religions about me." Shot rang out. "I'm sorry. Why did you shoot me?" he said, as somebody hovered midair and was brought to the stage by telekinesis or something. "Why did you do that?" he said. The guy said, "You're God, don't you know?" He said, "I do know, but I want you to say it." He said, "You're just a person. I'm going to prove it. I was going to kill you to prove it." He said, "Your brain has been messed up by some drugs, young man. But now you're healed." And the man looked different. And he cried. And then he just disappeared. Where did he go? "I sent him to my universe, where I come from. It's kind of like this, but eternal in nature. You might call it heaven or hell, but it is where I am, and where you will all be soon." An amazing thing happened. Half the crowd turned on him, and the other half started worshiping him. Was he God? Demon? Devil? Alien? Who knew? Could they stop him? Those that opposed him were going to try. Could they succeed against this powerful being? And what would happen if they did somehow stop him, end him? Would that end reality if he was a god? And who was right? Were the people who were wanting to fight him right? Or the people worshiping him? Were they right? And who's to say? Thankfully, it's just a story. Third and final tale of terror. And this one, I don't know that I should tell this one, to be honest. Because this one is just too scary. Just give me a moment. Boo.